number 3 of 3 title fights on the night with the light heavyweight strap on the line. Jan Blachowicz defending his belt, taking on Israel Adesanya. Israel Adesanya, middleweight champion, coming up to light heavyweight, seeing if he become one of 4 or 5 champs in the history of the UFC. Great fight overall, man. I thought this one lived up to the hype. I think the result really shocked everyone. But Jan came in with just a awesome game plan, man. He outstruck Israel Adesanya. Who would have thought that? He used his range well. Yeah, was he getting clipped from here and there? Yeah, of course, but I don't think it was doing any real damage. And then the takedowns in the 4th and 5th round just determined this whole fight. Izzy could not get up from those takedowns. And Jan, yeah, was he doing a ton of damage on the ground? Absolutely not. But he was imposing his will. I think it proved that how much bigger Jan was than Izzy. I mean, Jan must have been 225 in there. Izzy was probably, I'd say, a little over 200. I mean, there was a big weight discrepancy there. You could tell when they were on the ground. Izzy couldn't get up. So break down this fight. What do you think of, Jan's performance? And again, what do you think of Izzy's performance?
Yeah. Looking at the stats, it's kind of different than how I took the fight when I was actually watching it. I thought when I was watching, Izzy was the more active and more accurate fighter. But when you look at the stats per round, Jan outstruck him every single round, and then he had the takedowns in 4 and 5, and was able to outstrike him in those rounds as well. I mean, I think the thing with Izzy is that he had a lot of feints and a lot of different head movement and setups and stuff that made him look super active, like he was working for things. And he did land a lot of really good shots. Like I didn't think that he was completely, he wasn't outclassed, or it didn't look like he didn't belong there.
Yeah,
That's what I'm trying to say. I mean, made the move up to another weight class, and he's fighting a world champion in that weight class. Is his very first fight. It's extremely tough thing to do. But I thought Izzy looked great, and I honestly, when I was watching it live, I thought he was winning the first 3 rounds. But when you look at the breakdown, I mean, Jan was outstriking him. And yeah, the big thing was just those takedowns in 4 and 5. That cemented 4 and 5 for Jan. Whatever happened in 1 through 3, if Jan at least just took one of them, which is a high likelihood, that's what I was thinking in my mind anyway, that Jan was going to take the fight when it went to the scorecards. But yeah, no, I think it was a great performance by Izzy. If he could put on some size, I think that would definitely help. But yeah, no, I mean, I had a lot of fun watching the fight. I think it was a pretty evenly matched contest, and with just the difference being the size difference in rounds 4 and 5.
Yeah, and I think the score doesn't do justice as well. Like 49-45. I mean, do I agree with that? Definitely not. I thought some of the scores on Saturday night were a little wild. I definitely thought it was closer. I mean, Jan did control that 4th and 5th round. Don't get me wrong. Were they 10-8s? No, I don't think so. Because I don't think Jan did enough damage on the ground for those speed. Those weren't like Khabib-like performances, right? But he did what he needed to do to get it done. It was an exciting fight overall. Like you said, Izzy hit him with some good shots, but Jan, just being the absolute, savage that he is, ate those, and he was delivering back. And you got to look at a guy like Jan, man. What a career turnaround that man is at. Starting off 2 and 4 in the UFC, probably going to get cut, and then goes on 9 and 1 since then, and becoming the champion, and then defending it against a guy, Israel Adesanya, who is supposed to be the next Conor McGregor, giving him his first L of his entire MMA career, shattering, I think, a lot of dreams with the UFC and the super fight between Jones and Izzy. I mean, if you're a Jan, I mean, I don't see anyone beating him anytime soon. Guy has he's the Polish power, man, legendary Polish power. I know called out Glover for his next fight. I think that makes sense. Glover was the backup in case anyone missed weight or did anything like that. So I think he makes sense. Next up, but I think Jan beats him too, man. I think Jan's gonna
Yeah.
rule this division for a little bit, and I think he's put in the work, and he's been an underdog in his last friggin' 6 fights, for Christ's sake. Let's put some respect on Jan Blachowicz's name. He just beat Israel Adesanya, right? Was it a blowout? Absolutely not by any means, but he destroyed a hype train on Saturday night. And I think, it definitely put a dent in the Jones-Izzy fight. And that's a question that I have for you is, do you think that fight will ever happen now? Or do you think that's kind of all, do you think Izzy should just go back to middleweight, focus on defending that belt, which he still has, of course, and just, making a legacy there?
Yeah, I think with the way that Izzy markets himself, and he's got this one loss. It's a small blemish. I mean, with this not character, but like just this following that he's created, I think it's tough to be diminished by one loss.
Yep.
I think he'll go back to his weight class, rack up a few wins. He did say in some of the post-fight interviews that he intends on coming back to the light heavyweight, and if he can, put on the size, and then, get a few wins in that division, I think, because right now Jones is going to be up at heavyweight. He's put on the
Yeah.
weight. He's done the work to get up to size. If he can get himself into a title fight, after, Stipe Ngannou, I mean, it just makes sense that Jones would get the winner of that fight. But with him already being at the weight, having the size put on, all the work and all that, I would think that he would probably want to go defend that, especially since he's vacated, his belt already. It's not like he has to bounce back and forth to maintain both belts. He's already given that one up. So I think he'll probably be at heavyweight for a little bit of time. Izzy will go back down. He'll have a few fights, and then if he comes back, gets a little bit of momentum at light heavyweight, I think that conversation just starts right back up again.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens there. And I agree. I don't think this diminishes Izzy at all. I still don't think Izzy loses at middleweight. I think Izzy, stays undefeated his career at middleweight. I think what's next for him, obviously we have Whitaker and Costa fighting. I want to see him versus Till. And as much as people shit on Till, that fight would be bananas. The build up to that fight would be incredible. The trash talk, all that stuff. I know Till's got to get through Marvin Vettori, which is going to be a hell of a fight there. But Izzy has so many options at middleweight now, and he can clean out that division if he wants and build his legacy there. If obviously winning that second belt, dream of his, but he said in his post-fight speech, dare to be great. And he tried to do that. Nothing but respect for someone going up in weight. And Izzy didn't do a Conor McGregor where he went up one weight class. In terms of actual weight classes, yes, he went up one, but he made a jump from 185 to 205.
Yeah.
That's such a big discrepancy. Like what TJ did, or Cejudo coming up 10 pounds, like that is just such a big discrepancy. And you gotta give props to him there, man. And he's still going to be one of the biggest stars. I'm assuming the pay-per-view on this did absolutely ridiculous. So that he's still got star power. But shout out both of those guys. Great fight, great way to end off the night. Shout out, Jan Blachowicz, man. Put some respect on this guy's name. I want to see him run this division for a while. I'd love to see him eventually maybe go up against John Jones at light heavyweight. I think that'd be awesome. But I love Jan's mentality. He goes, I want to defend this belt as many times. He didn't talk about going up, going down, anything like that. He was like, I want to defend this belt. I've been waiting for this my whole life. He's on the kind of the later end of his career, right? You can't say he's some spring chicken, right? 38 years old, 38 years old. Probably got a couple years left in him. Let's get a couple title defenses under his belt. And, if he beats up Glover, that's awesome. So we'll see, man. But overall, great night of fights. When the early prelims and the prelims are that good, definitely sets the bar high for the pay-per-view portion. I thought the whole card delivered, minus that one blemish. with the Peter Yan incident. But overall, UFC 259, hell of a night. Dana White, thanks for putting on another great